Let's find out more about this key bilateral. Let me take you across to my colleague Jessica Taneja live. Hi Jessica, how critical do you think is India's partnership with New Zealand, keeping in mind the prevailing geopolitical realities, particularly when it comes to security and trade?
Right, Gautam, and you saw the New Zealand Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, just in the evening earlier today, talk about how the strengthening relationship between India and New Zealand has seen an upward trajectory, not only in terms of trade, but also enhanced bilateral relations. Perhaps this trip began with an announcement of the resumption of negotiations of a potential free trade agreement between the two countries. And that, of course, signals the kind of interest that New Zealand has sort of taken when it comes to enhancing ties with India in the recent past. The bilateral trade between the two is approximately $1.7 billion as of now, where we've seen in the last financial year, that is 2024, 2024 to December latest, that the figures seem to show that the trade continues to increase between the two, with India's goods export to New Zealand totaling approximately $435 million, and that gap narrowing with exports from New Zealand also increasing to India. So we've seen the relationship go in an upward trajectory, especially when we talk about trade. Now, security in the Indo-Pacific has also been a focus for the two nations, as they have been in the recent past. And you saw the New Zealand Prime Minister reiterate that how important has security become in the Indo-Pacific region, especially when we talk about the supply chains as well as other issues that have been noticed when it comes to transnational aggression. Of course, another factor also being geoeconomics and the world which we currently have inherited when it comes to the retaliatory, the retaliatory tariffs and the potential trade war that we've been witnessing. So, of course, the relationship, keeping in mind the current geopolitical climate, continues to move in a direction where it feels that the two countries could do a lot more than they currently do, even when it comes to student exchanges. There are a lot of Indian students studying in New Zealand as well, and a significant diaspora as well, and people of Indian origin in New Zealand. And hence you saw the New Zealand Prime Minister, when he did begin his address earlier in the evening today, had greeted the audiences with that particular manner, where it did sort of reinstate the fact that India is an important partner for New Zealand, not just when it comes to trade, but also security in the long run.
Well, certainly, and one very key aspect is also, of course, the people-to-people ties, which also explains the visit to the Sikh temple, the Gurudwara, in the evening by both the Prime Ministers. But another aspect is the issue of counter-terrorism, where our Prime Minister was quite emphatic when the two leaders addressed the media jointly. Now, explain to us the background of this assertion that India and New Zealand will be working together to tackle such issues such as terrorism and the underlying causes of that.
That's correct. The attack on Christchurch and, of course, the Mumbai terror attack seem to have left a mark, a dent when it comes to further cooperation on security and counter-terrorism. You saw both the leaders earlier today at the Hyderabad House stressing the fact that there has to be more cooperation. Perhaps the two leaders moving ahead would like to address certain radical elements that do tend to sort of disturb peace and, of course, create an environment which sort of leads towards destabilization. So, of course, both the leaders did stress on the fact that this needs to be addressed more proactively than what we've seen in the past. And the discussions so far seem to suggest that this will be something that they will continue to build on. And counterterrorism is one of the issues that both take quite seriously. And you saw how the New Zealand Prime Minister reiterated that this is something they're definitely going to work upon and take India's issues into consideration when it comes to certain radical elements creating disturbances.
All right, Jessica, thanks a lot for joining us to talk about this key bilateral, which we will be dwelling upon a little bit more with a special expert guest as well a little later in the show. But thanks for joining us for the time being.